Exercise 8 of the tensor CAD. Look at this drawing and try to look at your CAD exercises PDF file to follow how we draw up this profile. So we will select all geometry and delete this by hitting this button, and we start from the beginning. So if you look at the drawing in CAD exercises, you will probably want to start with the lower horizontal line on the left. So we start line sketch from left to right. The Y value is 0. The length is not that important now, so we click on OK, and we draw the vertical line, which has an X value of 100. In this case, the Y2 is important if you look at your drawing, because from that endpoint on we will draw a line with an angle. So the Y2 value is 50. We can trim these two lines and enlarge the drawing, or we can move the drawing a little bit. And we move on to line angle. The angle of the line is 90 degrees plus 30. The length is 88. And we click on OK. From this line on, we will draw a new angle, line with an angle. In this case, we can activate angle relative to chain end. This makes it a little bit more easy, so we can enter minus 90 degrees with the length of 30. And we click on OK. We can fillet this corner with radius 10, and we will move back to line with an angle, and you can see that the angle of the new line, if you look at the last line here, is 90 degrees less, so we can leave this on minus 90. The length we can only estimate, let's say 85. Okay, we can round this corner as well with R10, and if we look at the R10 below, right down here, we will draw a small horizontal line with a Y value of 65, and we can draw a vertical line downwards here with an X value, as is dimensioned in the drawing, of 140. We can trim and fillet this corner with a radius of 10. So there's your fillet. We diminish the view. We can move it a little bit to the left, like this. And we move on to the next line. If you by accident click the left mouse button here, no problem here. Just move to the last line, click on the shift button, press on the shift button and click with the mouse, and my chain is selected again. So we move on with a horizontal line on a Y of 0, and the length is not that important. We can then draw a line from below to the top with a X value of 250. We have to look at, it's important that we know the endpoint. In this case, we might enter 124. Okay, we can trim, and from this point we can draw a line with an angle, which is, in this case, if we want to do this absolute, it's 90 plus 20. The length is not known here, so we can estimate it as being almost 40 millimeters. There's our line. And to draw the next line, we have a minor problem, because we do not know where our last line just ended. And if you look at the drawing, you can see the dimension is 65/26. So what we might need to do is to first draw a help line horizontal from left to right with a y value of 162, and we can, if you enlarge this over here, we can trim this, or we can trim the entities to the last selected chain, which is in this case this line. So we click on this key and you see that we'll see that this line is being enlarged a little bit. And now if we look at our drawing, we know where the endpoint is if you look at the endpoint of our last line. But as the coordinates of this last line is not known, we can in this case use the option to move the axis. This is our 0 point reference point of our drawing. This is 0, 0, but we can temporarily move our axis or replace them by snap them to a snap point. So we can click on this endpoint of the line, and temporarily this will be our 0, 0 point. So now you can see it would be easy to draw the next line. We could, for example, click on a sketch line and we will draw a line from the right to the left, and from this reference point it will have an y value of 26. The start point will be in this case minus 65, and the end point, if I look at the drawing, is not that important, but especially the start point will be very important. So there's our new line. By joining these two lines, we will solve the problem in the corner. So we draw a line join, and there's our new line. So if we're finished here, we can reset our axis by moving to the axis menu, reset, and we're back in business. Just leave this line, we can delete this afterwards. We move on to the R50, reset. The x value is in this case 0, y value is 188 minus 50. Our radius is 50. It's counterclockwise from this angle to this angle. Look at the example before you click on the OK button to see if it's OK. So we click on OK, view all. We can click on trim, and the line is trimmed to our last arc. And now we have to define the next arc, which has a x value of 0 and y from 188 minus 100 minus 36. Our radius is 36. It will now be a clockwise arc, just like the example shows us right now. So we click on OK, and we now need to define the last line, which is being defined as a line with an angle. So we can click on line at angle, and our angle will be 30 degrees plus 180. The length is 40, for example. We don't know exactly the length of the line. And we click on OK. And we now just need to close the chain by trimming. First click on the closed chain button, then move to trim, so the last element, which is this line, will be connected with the first line. And there's our closed chain. Click on this line so you can delete the line. And this is our chain. So try to repeat this and try to define the chain yourselves. So let's move on to the next exercise.